Hey guys, it's Queen Asaharu, and I am here with another exciting episode of Ask an Aquarius. So, today's topic comes from my heart because I saw some things, I've been seeing some things that really are bothering me, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. All right, so I'm in several Facebook groups, lesbian groups, business groups, pagan groups, different Facebook groups where I just go to read different information and get some giggles. Anyway, recently I joined two new groups for women, lesbians, and both of these groups have a tendency to post a lot of stuff in them about relationships. So, from reading the answers that people put to these questions, I'm very disturbed. And I'm going to tell you why I'm disturbed. I'm disturbed because as I'm reading these groups and as I'm reading comment sections and other parts of Facebook, I'm noticing a disturbing trend. Especially, I'm seeing this predominantly in America, but I'm not sure if it's going on in other places as well. But it looks like nowadays people are accepting anybody just to have somebody. It's like people will date people who, and it's not like, okay, like, the normal kind of stuff, like, this person is, rude or this person is disrespectful, but they're taking stuff. They're like, infidelity has become the norm. Like, people is like, oh, I ain't leaving about no infidelity. Oh, that down. Oh, I don't care about that. I'm like, like distrust, lying, deceit, stealing from them. I'm hearing stories and I'm like, what? Like, people are taking the craziest stuff. And when you listen to the hypothetical answers as well, you're like what? Like, somebody said the other day, what would happen if your significant other cheated on you, got HIV, you didn't have it, and when you went to get married, you found out, would you still be with this person? My first thought was, they cheated on me, they've been unfaithful, and they have HIV, and I don't have it? Oh, I'm out. And like, all kinds of people were like, well, we already married, so I might as well ride it out. And I'm like, huh? Like, one girl said, oh, HIV not a death sentence no more. It's not about the death sentence. It's about the fact that this person has been unfaithful to you, did not care about your health or their own health because they didn't even try to protect themselves. Come home with a disease that will kill you eventually, and I guess somebody said that it wasn't a death sentence anymore, that maybe you could live out a normal lifespan. Even if you can live out your whole lifespan, I don't want to live out my lifespan with HIV. Like, are you serious? I mean, if I contract it, the way that STDs go, in my opinion, if you contract them, you deal with them, period. But if you cannot contract them, try to prevent them. That's the idea. So if you already have them and you're living with them, then you get up your courage, you get up your strength, and you do what you got to do. But if you know that your partner has HIV, you know that your partner is unfaithful, you know that your partner is deceptive, and you don't have whatever this is, and you're going to keep being with them so they can do what? Give you more STDs? Like, are you serious? So as I'm reading these answers to these questions, I'm like, people nowadays are accepting anything to just have someone. And I'm very bothered by that because I'm going to tell you, I think we've all, not all of us have done this, but a lot of us have done this. I've done this, but never to this extent. It's like it's getting worse and worse every decade. I mean, when I was dating, when I was younger, I have to be honest with you. Every person I was with, there was a period when, in the beginning, when I knew they weren't the right person for me. I haven't been with the right person yet, to be honest with you. And I knew that every single time. But what would happen was, something in me would say, this person isn't for you. And I would say, oh, well, it's okay. And I would settle. Oh, they'll change. Oh, they'll grow. I'll get a little slower. They'll go a little faster. I'm a little country. They're a little rock and roll. And I would tell myself all of these lies because the truth is that The bottom line is that whatever it was, whatever the deal breaker was, is not going to change in most situations unless that person actively wants it to change. That person is seeking, a new way of living. That person is trying to make it happen. They're actually doing it. They're going to therapy. They're doing something about whatever their shortcoming is. They're not just lying and paying lip service to it, which is what a lot of people will do. A lot of people are just going to tell you exactly what you want to hear. Yeah, I'm going to therapy. Yeah, I'm changing. I went and saw my pastor. Like, people are going to tell you exactly what you want to hear to stay in your life and not actually deserve that space or do any work to be in that space. And if you just keep accepting it and accepting it and accepting it and settling for their bad behavior, all you're really doing is damaging yourself. Because in the end, you would have been better off by yourself, handling your business, traveling the world, seeking pleasure through, culinary arts or regular arts or whatever you're into, dance, whatever. You would have been better off exploring the world and exploring your insides, exploring what's within, than you are wasting your time with somebody that you knew from the first date was not the kind of person you wanted to be with, but you settled for them because you wanted to have somebody. And I'm here to tell you that you're better off by yourself. You're better off with nobody than with somebody who's a total jerk. Like, bottom line, you are better off by yourself than being with somebody who's disrespectful to you, who's abusive towards you, somebody who doesn't take you into consideration or even put forth any effort in your relationship, and you're just holding on to them just to have somebody. We have to come away from this notion as a global society that you have to be with somebody, because you really don't. The idea is to be with somebody because you want to be with somebody, because you love that person, because that person does it for you, because that person and you have a mutual understanding and love and respect for each other, not because you feel desperate and you want to be with somebody and you want pictures to put on Instagram. No. You're unhappy, then you have to deal with the unhappiness, and either you end up leaving them anyway, or they end up leaving you, or you end up staying with them for the duration and you're just tolerating each other. And that's not what you really want. Do you really want to be in a relationship where you're just tolerating each other so you can have pictures for Facebook? Like, really think about it, because like I said before, I did these things. I settled in my relationships every single time and got with somebody who I knew wasn't the right person, stayed with them, ended up damaged, hurt, angry, bitter, ended up having to leave them anyway, every single time. Every time. And finally, I just was like, you know what? No more. I'm not doing this ever again. And what I'm seeing is that not only are other people following this bad example, other people are taking it to a level that I would never have allowed. Like, infidelity has become such a norm. Like, people know their lovers are not faithful and they just like, well, like nonchalant about it. Like, you don't care that he might give you an STD. You don't care that she is pregnant and you don't even know if it's your kid. Like, all kind of stuff is happening, and it's getting worse. Like, the one girl was talking about how her boyfriend seduced her mother. I mean, like, I'm sitting there listening to this like, wow. And she stayed with him. That's the thing that kills me. Like, you see, he seduced your mother. Your mother obviously was about it because she was seeing him. And then he gets mad at her, stops seeing the mother. And then you find out about it and he blames it all on the mother. And now you're mad at your mother. I would be mad at both of them. Are you serious? And then you're still with him and you're still sleeping with him and you're still being with him. You're still talking about you love him. Like, even if you do still love him, which very well could be the case, I would not continue to have a relationship with him. He's obviously doesn't care about you. He's disrespectful. And he's deceptive. He's your mother. Like, that's your mother. Like, come on. He didn't even care enough about you to try to sleep with somebody that was a little bit removed, like a friend or, a hairdresser or something. He went right for the person who birthed you. Like, oh, come on. Like, people are just accepting the craziest stuff. One woman was talking about how her female lover, this lesbian, was saying that her female lover stole her money. Like, she stole her bank card and was like going in her account periodically and taking out money. And then they broke up. And she didn't really notice it when they were together. But then after they broke up, she's like, I know I had more money than this. And then she looks back, and this woman for like 18 months had been stealing her money. So then the woman comes back to her and tells her, how sorry she is about it, and let's make amends, let's get back together. I'll never do this again. She gets back with the woman, and the woman steals more money. And I'm sitting here like, are you serious? Like, I just I feel like people are just accepting anything. I know that people make mistakes. I know that bad things happen sometimes. I know that nobody's perfect. But some of this is a no-brainer. When somebody is disrespecting you, you have to find a way to cut off the relationship. You have to find a way to move on, because the relationship is toxic for you. It is unhealthy for you. So you can't just keep on taking and taking and taking whatever they put forth. I just don't want to see men or women. I don't want to see people settling in that way. There are good people out here. There are people who will love you. There are people who will treat you with respect and with kindness. There are people out here who will do their best to communicate with you and be honest with you. There is not any perfect people. No, they're not. But there are lots of people out here who will be willing to treat you well and at least attempt to have a good, open, and honest relationship with you, versus somebody that in the first conversation is not a good person. I had seen this man sent this girl a text, and he said, you got me messed up. I ain't like the rest of these lame dudes. I've been trying to take you out, and you keep on fleeing me. I'm coming at 9:30. Get your babysitter. I'm going to be there at 9:30. I'm taking your stuck up ASS out. And I'm looking at the text like, what? So the person that posted the text in the group said, what would you do, ladies? What would you say? I'm thinking I'm calling the cops like at 9:30. Exactly, 9:25. I'm calling the cops. And people are like, oh, well, I'm going to be ready at 9:30. And dead by 11:30. Because he's already comfortable verbally abusing you, and you haven't even went out with him yet. So if he's comfortable verbally abusing you and you haven't even started the game, what does that tell you? Like, come on. If he's verbally abusing you in a text message about going out, he's going to be like that throughout the relationship, verbally abusing you, yelling at you. This is the man that you want to spend time with. This is somebody you're excited now to go out with at 9:30. Come on. And that's why people are taken advantage of. That's why people are sad and in bad situations, depressed, resentful. This is why. Because too many of us are accepting anything that comes down the pipeline. So, like my girl Lauren said, she said, Lauren is only human. Don't think I haven't been in the same predicament. I've been in the predicament. Not this extreme, but I've settled. And I'm telling you, settling, period, for something normal or extreme is not a good idea. If you're settling for disrespect, if you're settling for abuse, if you're settling for infidelity, if you're settling for any of that kind of stuff, you're better off by yourself, enjoying the world, enjoying your life, picking up hobbies, taking trips, making money, building an empire. Focus on yourself. Focus on healing yourself if you need to be healed. Focus on whatever you need to do, your physical body, yoga, whatever. Focus on yourself. Get yourself healthy and right. And the chances are very high that the right kind of person will come along eventually. When you're ready for that person, they'll come along. But in the meantime, don't settle for Mrs. Right and Mr. Wrong coming down the pipeline, because you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're emotionally abusing yourself, basically, because you're leaving the door open for any yahoo to walk through and stomp all over your heart. And just because you let them stomp all over you, don't think that eventually, oh, they're going to love me. I've been there for them. I've been in their corner. It's not going to happen. They're going to stomp all over you until you get tired of getting stomped on. Then they're going to go stomp on somebody else. That's it. So don't let yourself be stopped on. It used to take me a couple years, 2 years or so, to get away from a person who was messed up. And after the one person that I was with that was really screwed up, after that I got real quicker. I got much quicker with it. The next time it was like, okay, a couple months, this ain't for me. A couple more, like it was like a year, then it was like 8 months. It was quicker and quicker every time I dated somebody. And now it's at the point where I can tell in the first conversation if we need to have a second conversation. Um, it just got, my intuition got that strong from dealing with these situations, and now I can tell immediately just from what comes out of their mouth, their vibration, their energy. I can tell like, this not gonna work for me. I can tell immediately. And it's not that, in some cases it's not that there's something wrong with the person, it's just that they're just not for me. This is not gonna work for me. And in some cases, in my youth, I would have settled for some of these situations and then been unhappy and again bitter. So you guys think about that. The next time you meet somebody, or if you're dating somebody right now and you know in your heart that they're not ever going to be what you want, if you know you're settling in your heart, do yourself a favor and please let go. Let go. Work on yourself. And somebody who's worth your time will come along when you're ready. Because one of the things you have to know, if you're putting up with somebody who is not worth your time, something is going on inside of you. You're not loving yourself. Your self-esteem is not where it needs to be as far as self-love is concerned. So you really shouldn't be dating anyway. You should be healing, because anytime you're willing to take abuse, that means that something inside of you is not computing. Something inside of you is hurting. Something in you is broken. And instead of dating these yahoos, deal with what that something is. And then the chances are more likely that somebody will come along after you're healed who's a better match. Okay? There's something going on in you that you're allowing that, because a person that loves themselves would not allow abuse. A person who loves themselves is going to break away from abuse every single time. Every time an abuser comes around me, I break away from them. You might stick around for a couple days, but as soon as that abuse comes up, I'm out. And that's what you have to do. So if you're putting up with abuse from somebody months, years at a time, there's something in you that needs to be addressed. So stop dating and address it. By the time you finish addressing it, you'll notice that your dating pool will have gotten better. I guarantee it. So this is Queen Oseharu, and I hope that helped you. It was on my heart, and I gave it to you. Deuces.